Hi, welcome back to my channel, Open the Door. This is episode 145, and it's episode 2 in the series that I'm doing about returning to the new earth. So before we can start to think about building this new earth together, we need to work on our deregulated nervous systems, because a revolution without regulation just turns into chaos. Awakening without grounding can turn into ego, and passion without stability can turn into burnout. So before we try to change the world, ask yourself, can you sit in stillness in your own body? Before you call for a revolution, can you regulate your own nervous system? Because the new earth will not be built by being reactive, it will be built by being regulated. What do I mean by regulating? Regulation means that you can feel anger without exploding. You can feel fear without collapsing. You can hear disagreements without going into attack mode or feeling defensive. You can respond instead of reacting. Regulation brings this new earth consciousness into an aspect that we all carry called our wise mind. And the wise mind arises from our higher self. It's the knower within us that knows what's best for us. But here's what happens when we don't regulate our emotions and our nervous system. Unregulated systems look like spiritual superiority, cancel culture disguised as justice, burnout activism, trauma bonding in spiritual communities, and overall an us versus them energy that's propagated through our lives and how we live our lives among others, but also, of course, through the media. History shows that this pattern of unregulated revolution, like with the French Revolution, can descend into chaos when emotions overtake the grounded strategy. So without regulation, power replicates the very opposition that it's trying to destroy. And that's not new earth, that's recycled trauma. And that's what we want to get away from. Here's what happens with our nervous system. And you might not be aware of this, but it's actually true. What you carry into a room spreads. Your vibe, your energy, however you wanna label that. But so if you're regulated, that spreads. But if you're dysregulated, that's also going to spread to those around you. Every time you enter a space, your home, your workplace, a comment section, a community gathering, you're transmitting energy. You're transmitting something. And if you're anxious, hypervigilant, or defensive, people feel that. But on the other hand, if you're grounded, steady, and have clarity, people feel that too. So the nervous system is set up to co-regulate with what's going on around it. That's how we're wired. And we're constantly signaling safety or threat to one another, often without even saying a word. So before we talk about this revolution, consider this. If you try to lead when you're activated and regulated, you multiply that activation. But if you speak while you are deregulated, you're going to escalate conflict. So if you organize from unresolved rage, you build movements that eventually fracture. But when you regulate first, then your voice slows down, your message sharpens, your presence can stabilize a room. People feel safer thinking instead of reacting. That's power, not domination, not volume, not intensity level. It's stability. Because the new earth will not be built through emotional contagion of fear. It'll be built through the contagion of grounded presence, which is what I'm getting at with you here today. We've got to ground ourselves and regulate our nervous systems before we can start to approach this whole idea of new earth and how we're going to begin to fix things, everybody. So here's some practical regulation tools for you to use and to start today. Daily practices. Okay, number 1, take a deep breath before posting. Thoughtfully consider what you're about to share with the world. If something triggers you online, take 5 slow breaths before responding. And what I would probably do is click away. If something is triggering to me, I'm going to leave the room. Cold water can help regulate your system by kind of shocking you into the present moment, as well as doing grounding practices, whether it's outside and touching the earth or just sitting quietly and using your breath to regulate your system. You can put your hand on your heart and your feet on your floor and provide yourself with some wonderful self-affirmations to help regulate your system as well. And then you can use sound regulation. Sound healing is one example, or music that tends to calm and soothe you. So the new earth is going to require emotional literacy, self-responsibility, boundaries without cruelty, power without domination, passion without dysregulation. It's not about suppressing our anger, it's about metabolizing it. It's not about bypassing pain, it's about integrating that pain. So here's some journal prompts for you before I close this out. Where do I try to revolutionize from a triggered place? The second question is, do I mistake intensity for power? And the third question, what would change in my perception of the world if I regulated first? The new earth will not be built by the loudest voices. It'll be built by the most regulated nervous systems. So we have to regulate before we revolutionize and start to establish this new earth. Because the world doesn't need more reactions, as you clearly see every day around us. It needs steady hands, steady hearts, grounded and assured in our purpose. This is our episode for today, talking more about New Earth and hopefully pointing out to you, and you're getting the message, that we've got to start with ourselves first. This series will continue. Next time I'm going to talk about sound, fire, and water, and what that has to do with the New Earth. So in the meantime, take good care of yourselves. I'll see you again very soon. I wish you peace, love, and light. Have a wonderful day, and that's it for now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.